What is up, guys? It's King Mike here again. I just wanted to drop a video about Dragon Ball Super episode 100. I'ma just not even waste time. This episode was great. It was awesome. I loved it. The action was incredible. It's really there was so much that happened in this episode. I'm really just gonna say, go and watch it, and then see for yourself. Um, my review, in fact, my rating on this episode, I give it a 9.1. The fanboy in me wants to give it, if this was a scale of 1 to 10, I want to give it a million. I loved it, but I gotta be fair to the story. It gets a 9.1. The reason why it wasn't a full scale 10, there were some things that worried me a tiny bit. In fact, there's only one thing that worried me more than anything else, and that was how Caulifla is just jumping to Super Saiyan forms, and then Goku telling her she could go Super Saiyan 3 if they kept fighting. Now, I mean, initially at first, I'm not mad at that, but it does worry me. In fact, here's my problem. In fact, I'll put it this way. I don't have a problem with her having new forms. It's just the timing. It's she's getting them too quickly. She needs to train. She needs to really go through some type of, like, she just needs to go through. I'm gonna just put it that way. Okay, Goku went through, Vegeta went through, Gohan went through. Like, shoot, even Trunks went through. Heck, that's how he got Super Saiyan Rage. They were good with what they did with Trunks back in the Future Trunks arc. He still was going through something dire. He still was going through a whole lot mentally and emotionally. So that form made sense. Now, in the case of Caulifla, it's like, okay, the forms are fine, but it's too quick. When we first got to see her go Super Saiyan, it was cool. It's like, okay, I don't have a problem with her going Super Saiyan in the same day she's just learning it. That's cool. That's cool. However, the problem is she went Super Saiyan 2 immediately after that. And now we're hearing she could go Super Saiyan 3. And then Goku's like, you're not ready for Blue yet. When clearly it should have been, yeah, you're powerful and all, but you're nowhere near Blue. Like, that should have been what was stated, not you're not ready. It's like, you're nowhere near it. And if anything, that worries me. It's like, so are you telling me that Super Saiyan Blue is a form that you can learn now? Well, no, you can learn it, but it's like, is that supposed to be something that you can just automatically get and train to now? Like, she's learning them really quick, and it's like I said, and I'm going to put it this way, she's one of my favorite characters, but she's learning these things a little too quickly, and I think they need to slow it down with her. Like, pump the brakes, you guys. Slow. Super Saiyan 2 should be her max, and it needs to be that way for a while. Then later on, should we get to have her in Universe 6 still involved in the story later on, for future arcs, then later on down the road, you could give her Super Saiyan 3 or something. Then people would love it. So I can't say I'm upset with folks when they say she's learning the forms a little too quickly. But at the same time, there kind of was a description on what Universe 6 Saiyans were. They don't have tails. If I'm not mistaken, they don't have tails. And as a result, that makes them stronger, because even though Goku and, Vegeta's race of Universe 7 Saiyans, even though they were strong, as far as battle is concerned, they were very strong in terms of battle sense, their power levels were ultimately fairly weak. Super Saiyan is something they just happened to know of, and no one really unlocked it till Goku came along. But in the case of Universe 6, they knew nothing about it. And the thing is, they were extremely powerful to begin with. People depend on the Saiyans in Universe 6. So, in a sense, I could kind of see where and why Caulifla would be able to have that type of power and that potential to use the Super Saiyan forms as quickly as she does, simply for the fact that Universe 6 Saiyans are naturally more, much more powerful than Universe 7 Saiyans, and they oftentimes fight incredibly powerful villains in their base form. And that's the thing. When you increase your base form, in terms of power, your output as a Super Saiyan and transformed being, that makes it that much bigger. So I could see why she has all that potential, because let's be honest, we don't even know how old she is. So for all we know, she's probably fought insanely powerful foes in her base form and managed to defeat them and not gone Super Saiyan. And now that Super Saiyan is here, she's starting to unlock, you know, all the potential that she has as a Super Saiyan simply through the fact that she's been through many battles. Because let's remember, Saiyans do have Zenkai boosts, and my theory on the Universe 6 Saiyans would simply be because they have fought so many battles, you know, through the years, you know, and gotten stronger. It is the only reason why Caulifla is getting all these Super Saiyan forms is simply through sheer Zenkai boost. They were already slowly approaching the level of being OP in their base form, but now that Super Saiyan's here, it's like, okay, now we can take it further. And in Caulifla's case, she must have done something pretty crazy over the years that we didn't even know about him, because it's like, yo, if she could go Super Saiyan 3 already, I don't know what to say to that. But anyway, moving on. Kale. This girl showed out. She showed out. She showed out. She showed out. I'm happy with it, but I will be honest. I do wish that they would have made her rampage last longer. I would have at least liked to see a 2-part episode to her rampaging in the tournament. That's one thing I think they need to work on when it comes to new transformations and people, you know, just being extremely powerful and wrecking everyone. They need it. I need it to be more thorough. Some things need to be very thorough, and in the case of Kale, her going around beating everybody up, that should have been more thorough, because, you know, that's kind of how it was back in the old days. Anytime a new form came in to play, it was a very thorough battle with how strong they were. You know, they basically would replay every scenario, you know, and it would be like, oh, this doesn't work on them anymore. You know, my power was incredible at this, you know, stage, but it's like, it's nothing compared to, you know, whoever. So it's like, yeah, I would have liked to see more of Kale's rampage. I really hate that it had to end in one episode. But we'll get to see her in that form again. So I'm excited. Now, I will say one thing I did have an issue with. I'm not even going to hide it. It was Goku Super Saiyan Blue and his Kamehameha. Or just his Kamehameha, per se. I love Super Saiyan Blue, but it's the... Y'all, that Kamehameha was trash. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. It was trash. That Kamehameha should have been, like, okay, when Goku, anytime he uses Super Saiyan Blue and he's pulling it, and he's using a Kamehameha, that thing should literally engulf everything around it. That thing needs to be humongous. That thing was, it almost looked like a, I don't know what you call it. To be honest, the way it looked in this episode, it almost reminded me of Frieza using a continuous death beam. Like, it fluctuates, but it still maintains a beam-like form. Like, come on, man. Come on. You're facing someone who's obviously stronger than you, or at least as strong as you, and you're using a sucky Kamehameha. Come on, guys. You know, and I'm not even mad at the fact that she could take it, because the way that Kamehameha looked, oh man, I'm sure I could probably eat that for breakfast. Like, yo, that's how bad it looked. And then some people were upset at the fact that she was tanking that Kamehameha and taking it. Okay, as far as all that, you know, the only thing I say to that, folks, is y'all gotta remember something. The legendary Super Saiyan transformation was designed to be stronger than the average Saiyan transformation, okay? That is a genetically exclusive Saiyan transformation, meaning you cannot train to obtain it. You are born with it. It is literally a Saiyan, it's pretty much a genetic mutation within the Saiyan genes. It is a mutation that happens at random, and it basically allows someone of this genetic mutation to not only be able to unlock Super Saiyan, but it allows you to unlock this form, which just so happens to be pulling more power than the average Super Saiyan form. So in the case of Goku being Super Saiyan Blue, some folks were like, no, Goku should have beat her by default. No, not necessarily. Because even though he has Super Saiyan Blue and his power is incredibly huge. The thing is, Super Saiyan Blue is really nothing more than him using a form of ki that is much more controlled. He can use that thing for as long as he wants, just about. It's a less drag as far as stamina is concerned because he's mastered it. But I think all it does is really mask his natural power. It increases it, but it masks it. It means he can use more techniques without having too much pushback as far as stamina is concerned. But as far as Kale is concerned, yeah, the form she's in, that form is meant to be stronger than an average transformation. And even though Super Saiyan Blue is not an average transformation, one thing y'all got to look at is she is in a spot where she's not like she doesn't know how to control this transformation for one. So the power output that Kale is literally producing could be on a level that Super Saiyan Blue, or at least that I don't know how much power Goku is using in Super Saiyan Blue, but the power that Kale was emitting could have very well been at a level that was just simply somewhere that Goku could not handle. So, yeah, Super Saiyan Blue and legendary Super Saiyan form, yeah, they're incredibly ultimately powerful forms, but primarily when it comes to genetics, the legendary Super Saiyan form isn't something you learn. You're born with it. Whereas with Super Saiyan Blue, you have to be taught that. So to those who were kind of hating on it, I kind of have to come to the defense of Kale. Come on, guys. If you really know anything about your Dragon Ball, for crying out loud, there is a page that literally, word for word, describes how this form works, where you can fit it when it comes to power scaling. Like, come on, guys, this isn't rocket science. The form is literally what the form was designed for, to surpass, your average Saiyan. And Goku and Vegeta are still average full-blooded Saiyans. They just so happen to learn a new technique that magnifies their power tremendously, where they basically could destroy an entire universe. I'm sure they're at that point, but at the end of the day, regardless of what form they get, if Kale were to learn to control her power, and then let's say she got some godly ki, she'd be ahead of them. Skip how much they went through to get to where they are. The fact is, it is in the genetics. The genetics of a legendary Super Saiyan immediately surpass that of a normal. Goodness, I can't talk. It surpasses the normal genes of a average Saiyan. So therefore, any new form that Kale were to get while in the legendary state, it would immediately trump the average. It would immediately trump the form of Goku and Vegeta. That's all I can really say on that. I done repeated myself a million times, but I need folks to understand that. But yeah, that was probably though. Yeah, other than that episode, I give it a 9.1. Like I said, only issues I really had out of this episode is they're pushing the transformation card too quickly with Caulifla, and they need to pull the brake. Like, they need to push the brakes and slow that stuff down. Like, for crying out loud, Kaba, I'm sure he's been training with his Super Saiyan form, and the thing is, I'm glad how they're doing him. As strong as Kaba is, he still can only use Super Saiyan. Like, it needs to be that way with Caulifla. Super Saiyan 2, fine, she can have that, but she doesn't need to go anywhere else. They shouldn't have even thrown in the hint that she could go Super Saiyan 3, because that would literally defeat the purpose of why those forms are so strong. So, I think they really need to slow it down with Kale, and for crying out loud, all I gotta say is this next episode better make up for that terrible Kamehameha that Goku used. In fact, speaking of which, they need to do something different. I'm kind of low-key getting tired of seeing the same Kamehameha stuff. Goku does, it's like all it ever is now Goku uses the same thing. He uses a barrage of attacks or the Kamehameha. We still haven't seen the Spirit Bomb. Now we've seen the Kaioken, but it's like, come on. Goku had a lot more creative things that he used. So I need to see more of that. I mean, come on, guys, come on. But it's whatever. It's, I'm not saying I hate the episode. I just think there's some things that they need to really work on. But other than that, 9 out of 10. I gotta go ahead and go. And let's hope next episode is going to be just as good as this one, or hopefully better, okay? All right, be mighty. You can do anything that you put your mind to, and be mighty while doing it, all right? I'm out of here, you guys. Good night. Peace.